Hey guys, it's Lucid Dreams coming back with another video servicing the higher minds. And I'm coming today because we did a talk with God recently. And in that talk, I explained so much that I was interpreting from my channeling with God. So I did a lot of dissecting, breaking down the substance of this this message. And I wanted to make sure I got it out to you guys. And so that's why I'm here today. And so we're going to jump right into the topic of it. We're talking about the message of current times. So what we have is, what is a memory? Do you guys remember my last video speaking about what is a memory? Okay, this gets deep, so check this out. What is a memory? Okay, so we learned in the last channeling with God, we learned that a memory is a thought and a thought is a memory. So every time I mention memory, when I said what is a memory, or when we're talking about memories with God, I want to explain what that actually is. So I replaced all the words that say memory with the word thought. And you know, this just grew into a beautiful piece of work right here. And so this is what we get. First of all, anything that I put herein is my words. It is a lot of this would be for a book, and so I definitely have to say these are my words. No copywriting on that. So Lucretia Ferguson, and that's that. These words are going in my book, so I just want to put a little patent on that. What is a memory? A sequence of stored events stored in a database, a mind, a cloud, the heavens. What is a thought? A sequence of stored events stored in a database, a mind, a cloud, the heavens. This is deep. This is definitely going to tell you a lot about current times. It's like, now as you can see already, this is going to be deep for all of us. It's important, and I know it's important. I put who is responsible for your memories, and the answer was a action, a feeling, an event. Who is responsible for your thoughts? An action, a feeling, an event. Can you alter time and memories? Yes, if you are aware in your memory. Can you alter thoughts? Yes, after you are aware a thought is a memory and a memory is a thought, then you choose what thoughts are allowed in your space. So the last question I said is, can you alter time and memories? Yes, if you are aware in your memory. So right now would be a memory, and we're just aware of it, okay? When we become aware of it, we understand that we can alter it. You can program your own thoughts and choose what you let control you. God grants us the ability to shed negative thoughts, emotions, memories of what no longer serve us. This is getting deep. I told you that last video was deep. You have to really get in your space, really listen to these words. These are definitely going to teach you something about the current times that we are in right now. So it's like so cool. Okay, so here we go. What are thoughts? They are memories. Can they be altered? Yes. By who? You and whoever you believe. Can your thoughts be altered? Yes, you can control them, but whoever you trust and believe in can also control them. You can filter, remove, rewrite, revamp, alter, and permanently alter a thought. Does this erase existence? Only if you program it to. What about God? Question mark. He gave us the power to find self. God grants us the ability to shed negative thoughts, emotions of what no longer serves us. How? After layers of reality have been removed. Are there words in heaven only unspoken? Why? Because thoughts are only a memory. A memory is just a thought. This is him, not me. In heaven, there are no thoughts, worries, words. In heaven, you feel in an unspoken way a connection of what's true. I said, what is time? Time is stored memories. What are memories? Just a thought. Time stores thoughts. Okay, time equals stored thoughts. Thought is just a thought. So since time is stored thoughts, then you can then understand the past, present, future is all just a result of a thought. Time don't exist, only thoughts. What are thoughts? A collection of memories. Time is a space where all thoughts can be accessed. Boom. Okay, we're getting deep because we're going to be talking about dimensions, realms, existence, heavenly realms. This gets into my soul travel, and this is why this is so powerful for me to actually understand what I'm seeing, and it's so deep, so cool. God says how it will end. The answer is that's because we're living his story. I said, what about mine? Which his story makes me think of history. You know, it's the way to the wording. You know, he should have said that's because you're living my story, but instead it was his story, like history. All right, so in God's perspective, we are in his memories. We are his thoughts. We live in his story, which is past tense because it's history. He is in heaven and we are still reliving time. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I said, what about mine? I said, who am I? He said, you're a part of God. I said, then why am I here? Because God was here too. Define apart. Separated by distance from the main body. Who am I? I'm a memory of God's, but I'm not in heaven with God because there's a distance between me and the main body of Christ. Goosebumps yet? Goosebumps yet? Like, yes. All things goes to God. I said, why am I not with God? Because God didn't erase you from his memories. I am here because of God, but I'm not with God because I'm still in his thoughts. Why didn't he? Because he wants you to remember where you originated from. I said, why? He said, so he can fix his mistakes. Why? Because he's giving you time to find truth in him and your higher self so you can fix your mistakes. And by doing so, you also fix God's mistakes. You return to your holy state, therefore you are no longer apart from God, but you are returned pure of heart to source. God has mistakes only because he gave us self-will to choose. This was out of love. Can you imagine if we did not have self-will? I mean, like, can you imagine making your kids actually listen to everything that you have to say? And being such a strong parent that you don't let them live. God's not going to do that. We love our kids and we know that some things they do might not be good for them, but they have to experience some things. You know, we can guide them. And so that's what Will's here for. Will's here for allowing us the opportunity to see both sides. It's allowing us, it's not forcing us to be robotic. Nobody has to be an angel. Nobody has to be of God. You know, it's a choice. But the deception's so strong amongst us that a lot of people lose, you know, they got all these, all these layers of reality on them that they lose their connection with source, with God, and the meaning of life. And it really gets misconstrued in their own minds. Okay. I said, and the whole thing is, you know, when I said God has mistakes, this is so surprising in the fact that I'm a Christian and I look at God perfect and, you know, in an image of perfection. And so that's why I got deep in the subject. And so I said God has mistakes, and he was saying, yeah, like us all, like Adam and Eve. I said, what are mistakes? At this point, I'm wanting to define the word mistake. He said unwanted results. So that just totally gave me a new perception. Unwanted results. A mistake is just an unwanted result of your own action, okay? I said from what and why. Thoughts led astray. Our thoughts that led us astray is what separates us from God. God has kept faith, hope, and love in order to allow us the ability to return to him. It takes loving ourselves in a way that we shed all thoughts and memories that hurt us. It's wisdom and strength to persevere. If we all love ourselves, then we will have a love for everything, and we will love all people because we understand the deception that they're under. The spell of illusion that separates them from God, and we understand that we too were once here, and somewhere in time we are still there. God didn't erase his memories. He chose to separate from the hurtful memories stuck in time. We exist because God allowed us everlasting life through his heavenly Son, Jesus Christ. When we reunite in love, we reconnect back to our creation. God keeps us alive. God keeps us alive in time through his memories. Just think about that. There are some memories that God would remove because they broke him. Broke means separated into pieces. He holds on to them only out of love for those he's lost. Now let's think about that. There's been a lot of hurtful things in my life, but I chose and I still choose not to remove those. Those are thoughts that I don't live today. You know, a lot of people live in the past. They're stuck in a time that's not even now. You know, their childhood made them this way. They weren't loved. You know, they were abused. It causes a lot of problems in self. It could cause alcoholism. It could cause drug problems. All these things are a reflection of the inner self you have to shed. You have to shed all these memories. It doesn't mean that they're going to go away. It just means that you're not reliving them every day. You've moved past it. You're stronger, and you don't need a crutch anymore. You begin to understand your own power. And it takes that. That's wisdom. And it takes that through lessons of learning of life. And that's why we have so many heavenly realms and experiences and dimensions and times that we relive It's so that we find this knowledge. It's so that we can find our way back home. You know, shed all these things that we're not and understand that, you know, this is just a perception of reality in which we choose to be in for learning and lessons. So, yeah, like I think that, you know, I know my mom was more affected than anything by my dad. And it's kind of crazy how that works. If my mom was to erase my dad, or even if I was to erase my dad from my memories, he wouldn't exist. And therefore I wouldn't exist. You don't really want to erase memories that's a part of you. It shaped you into who you are. So that's the thing that he's saying. He's saying that we are just a memory of God. Like, we are a distant memory of God right now. And that he chose not to erase his memories because he didn't want to erase existence. I said, why hasn't God thanked it into existence then? He said, 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love. I said, can we reunite as one? He said, yes. I said, when? He said, when we love ourselves. Remove your memories. He said, some and not all. I said, why? He said, because some broke me. I said, why do you keep them there? Because I don't want to let go of loved ones I lost. God's memories are thoughts that he can control. They no longer control him. He removed himself from painful memories by controlling who and what he allowed to enter into his space. He didn't erase them. They are there, but very distant. I said, what about the other memories? He said, I don't want to relive them. They no longer serve me. I've separated from hurtful memories. I don't let them in my space. I said, are they still there? He said, yes, very distant. We are a distant memory of God. He loves and forgives. He gave us power to find ourselves in the same way he has. We are an image of him once we are awake. And most of us here are awake, and we're working our way to become that image of him. And so this becomes a little bit long, and I know I'm reading. It's because I can't remember. I don't want to miss anything, and I can't remember just flowing to talk everything I want to hit here. And I'm not going to reveal this whole entire book. I will be sending that to some of my faithful YouTubers that I know that's been interacting free of price. Not all, some, because this goes so deep, and once you have it in writing in front of you, it's just a different story. You can actually take your time to process, you know, and you can go back to it and you can really understand yourself through this writing. But so far, I dissected what my summary was of this so far, and so I'm going to read that for you. And this is pretty deep. All right, when we love ourselves, we reach to great heights in life. We return to who we are meant to be, and we become a service to those who are awakening to their true selves, the ones they were created to be in the first place, the ones that were once holy like Adam and Eve, before they were deceived. We shed the perception in which we were tricked to becoming by finding truth, which gives power to find self. God's memories remain because he loves himself, and he has love for all of us, and we will find love in others by loving ourselves too. We are to live in the image of God. A God that didn't kill us, allowed us free will, and as painful as it is, he remained faithful, hopeful, and full of love that we will one day return to him. We must follow in his ways to escape this matrix. We must separate from those who break us. We must love from a distance. We do not forget where we came from, but we rejoice in our cleansing of white robes as we are washed clean from the sins of this earth. We reunite with love in a place where thoughts no longer serve you. A feeling of love warms you. Where there is no sorrow, there is no pain. Only in God's kingdom we live this holy. We have to learn to separate now so God knows your love for him is greater than your love for the world. And that's what I got from this writing, and it was just like, wow, it's so intense for me, and that's why I really wanted to break this down for you guys. It's like, this is powerful. And it gets so much deeper. He really breaks down layers, and he explains things on a deeper level. And I know some people would have no clue what I'm even saying right now, but I know most of you that are on this channel do, and it's pretty wild, actually. It's pretty cool to read this and to understand it and interpret it. Again, it's God's words, you know, it's a communication from God, not mine, God's. I said, how do you overcome? He said, I forgive. I said, but you don't forget. He said, no, I just choose not to relive it. I said, by living in the here and now? He said, yes. God teaches us how to overcome our thoughts and our memories by forgiveness. It's when we forgive that we are then set free from the mind. We don't have to erase your memories, but you can choose not to relive it by controlling your thoughts. Don't let them enter your space. When your mind is still, you then live in a state of harmony by feeling the here and now. I said, why don't you permanently erase files in your memory storage? He said, because I would be stripped from time and existence. In the same way, if you stripped your memories of every hurtful experience, then you yourself would be removed from existence. We are all a result of sin. If we remove sin, then we no longer remain. I said, what is the solution to the matrix? He said, control it. I said, how? He said, manifest desired outcomes. Being stuck in time can resolve itself by controlling your thoughts, separating from ones who keep you from reaching your fullest potential. You gain control after you recognize who you are. Keys to unlock your own God-given power now resides within you. Now you are able to manifest desired outcomes by just thought and belief alone. The faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain, guys. I said, once you're there, what do? He said, you feel in a way that you don't care what your name is, where you've been. It no longer serves you. You just become. When you shed thoughts and memories, you then feel. Your name that identifies you is no longer something you're concerned with. You just become. You become. I said, why haven't you became? He said, because you're still in my memories. I said, why don't you remove it? Because I erase you. What happens then? I'm alone without identity. I know who I need to become now, and now it's work every single day. Self-work takes wisdom, strength, and self-love. But why don't God become in this constant state? He says it's because we remain in his memories. If he removes and erases all the negative thoughts and sins of the world, he then erases me and you. Without us, he is alone without identity like a childless mother. His love keeps me alive. It keeps us all alive, even though we are just a memory suspended in space and time. So, what your memories do is define you? So your thoughts that you entertain define you? I said, how long before you're rid of your negative memories? He said, until the world ends. I said, when? He said, time will tell. I said, what's time? He said, memories. When will you strip us from time and existence? He says, not until the world ends. When will that be? Time will tell. In other words, God's memories already know. And when we find him, we will understand that time is just a place that stores all of our thoughts. Our thoughts will determine when the world ends. Right? Deep. Time is just stored thoughts and memories. I said, will you reveal your memories? He said, yes. I said, when? He said, now. Alright, so I dissected this for you. Another summary of what I just read to you so far. And that's as follows. So far, God has revealed so many answers, and we have realized why forgiveness sets us free. We understand that if sin was removed, and if God removed the devil from earth, then he would also have to remove us. None of us are sin-free. He is allowing us time, through experience, to learn to live and abide in his ways. No one enters heaven if they will disrupt its peace and harmony. If God let everyone into heaven, then it would be no different than earth. To believe in him is to have everlasting life in his memories. We are not erased from existence itself, but we aren't in heaven yet. We do need to realize this. That's because we have a loving God. We must awake and unlock our knowledge and power in God. It's our faith that has prevailed. We then become into the highest forms of self. We live the best versions of ourselves, the versions that we were supposed to be before our ancestors sinned. We are then immortal beings, like our Creator. We reunite as one in righteousness in the way Jesus reunited with God in righteousness. The only reason why he hasn't became one in heaven is because he has faith, hope, and love in us. He's waiting to collect those who are sealed with righteousness. He's already done this as it's been written. We haven't experienced the future yet, which is still his memories, because we are a fragment of his imagination that's still suspended in time. As we manifest through God's will as Christians and not through self-will, God definitely didn't manifest according to his will. So he waits for us to find him through our own self-will. and love for him. Your thoughts will define you. Thoughts are the same as an action in the Bible, and now you know why. As a man thinketh, so is he. I said, how old are you? He said, what is age? Time don't exist, neither does age. In the here and now, you feel in a way you don't care what your name is, what age you are, or where you're from. I said, are you God? He said, not just one. He is saying he's the Alpha and the Omega. This is written in the Bible. This is further clarified with the additional phrase, the beginning and the end. He has existed for all of the eternity. I said, who is Jesus? He said, myself and I. John 10:30. I and the Father are one. He's teaching us how to become one. But first we must awaken faith by him. I said, what do you need of me? He said, forsaken by will and truth. Forsaken means to abandon or desert. Will is defined as future tense. Truth and the way is God. His statement can be read, I need you to abandon and desert earth by your will in believing that God is the truth and the way. To life is thy Father's kingdom. One must separate from the world. I said, how can I help you? Deliver my message? I said, what happens to the memories that doesn't get rewrote? He said, they fall away. They drown. He said this in the Bible so many times, and it's like, wow, now I'm understanding, you know? So the memories that God doesn't allow in heaven will fall and drown. I said, will they know it? He said, truth always prevails. Yes, they will one day be shown they were lost and asleep. I said, where do they go? He said, a bottomless, unrecovering pit. I said, can they resurface? Only for a little while. I said, then what? They crumble? Are you sad? Not really. He said, the future is rewritten. God is saying that his hurtful memories will go to a bottomless pit, an unrecovering pit. But can they resurface? And he says, yes, but only to be shown truth, and they will see where they have wronged God by their evil hate and ways. But then they will crumble. To define crumble means to break or fall into small fragments, especially over a period of time, as part of a process of deterioration. He's not sad because he's rejoiced in our reunion with him. The future is rewritten. Rewritten, defined, means to write something again, so as to alter or improve it. It's not God's memory yet because it's still a story. But when will we go? When we find God is when we go. I said, there is a next future, ? He said, it's been written. I said, are you there? He said, it's still a story. I said, when are you going? He said, when you find me. I said, no time or thought? He said, is this a question? I didn't understand at the time of my channeling, but now I can giggle at the fact that I was shown and told exactly what a thought and memory is. It's no wonder he responded with a question. I said, do we keep our own identity? He said, what is identity? He asked me a question. I said, it's a definition that defines you from me. He didn't answer. I said, are we the same? He said, yes. Now we understand why he's asking me questions, not because he don't know the answer. He wants me to find a deeper understanding because he already knows everything. We are still becoming. He is a patient, loving God. He is always guiding and teaching us with grace and understanding. He said, it's always been you looking back at you. It's always been your higher self wanting you to align back into who you are meant to be. Powerful, powerful there. All right, so I have a summary of what I've just went over with you guys, and so far this is what I have determined this meaning to be. And until I reach higher mind, I mean, you can dissect a meaning over and over again. If I was in a 3D mindset, this wouldn't really, I would just pull out what I could see. If I was in a 5D mindset, I'd pull out what I could see from there. So everybody's going to take their own interpretation of this. But this far into it, we have been told that age and identity is not in the here and now of heaven. We have confirmed that the Alpha and the Omega and the beginning and end, he's not just a God, he is the creator of all that is, what will be and what is to come. He confirms by explanation who Jesus is and who he is, and they are not separate as we see the world here. They are as one with one higher mind. He wants us to forsake and abandon time on earth by choosing by will and truth. So reunite with him by separating from the world. He wants our help. He wants us to deliver his message. The people who do not find him will fall away. They will know where they went wrong because God will show the truth and then send them to the unrecovering bottomless pit to never surface again. He rejoices in righteousness, and we live in a new story, one that is written but is not yet here. He's waiting on us to find him, a place where time is no longer a memory and a thought is no longer a factor, just feelings of completeness, peace, and beauty, where we don't know our identity because we all are the same. We are joined in God's love. We become a part of him in a way that Jesus is one with his Father. It's always been you looking back at you this whole time. I said, why so many versions? This is talking deep stuff that's from astral traveling in my gift. He said, why so many thoughts? So I astral travel and I know many lives that I've lived. I know my 5D future self. I've already lived it. So I've been in both the higher and lower realms. I asked him, why is there so many versions of self? He's saying, because I have so many thoughts, each leading me to experience them in another time frame. I said, how did you get here? He said, atomic bomb. I said, from who? He said, Earth. I said, how? He said, force. I said, I thought you created the forces. He said, I did. I said, you manifested yourself? He said, yes. I said, how? He said, a thought. He is a thought that spoke into existence a force in which he manifested Earth and self into existence. Atomic defined is forming a single unit or component in a larger system. Bomb is a container or body filled with gas or smoke. He literally manifested himself into existence by one single thought. Only God can do that. I said, what is a thought? He said, the very fabric of existence. The very fabric of existence stemmed from a thought. I said, then what is a feeling? He said, to be alive. Thoughts is a memory, but to feel is to be alive. I said, are we alive? He said, no. I said, then how are we living? He said, you're not. So we are the ones that are dead, trapped in illusion of time. This I've became to know. I'm the one waking up in the matrix. Thankfully, I'm not alone in this purgatory. I said, how am I here? He said, my memories that have not been erased. I said, why? He said, because I love and forgave. We are still here because we're lost in our own thoughts and memories. We're here because God allows his memories to remain through love and forgiveness. So what it's saying is, just as God has thoughts that he separates himself from, negative thoughts, or they're thoughts that no longer serve him. They're us. We're a memory and we're a thought, and it's crazy to think all this deep. But think of your own memories and how you're trying to shed your own memories so that you can grow into who you're supposed to be, not limited and restrained by illusion of time. He only allows his memories to remain because he loves us. I did say, how can I reach people? He said, my message. I said, how will I teach people? He said, my words. I said, how do I give you the credit, Father? He said, you be. I said, be how? He said, be natural. We awake people by his message, and we teach through his words, and all credit goes to God. When you naturally be the person you are supposed to be, God will reveal himself through you. I said, how many dimensions of time is there? He said, many pathways. I said, to where? He said, neurolinks. I said, how to access? He said, intelligence. Now, this isn't what you think as far as AI. How to access intelligence. So you got AI intelligence, and you also have raw truth, which is also intelligence. I've traveled many heavenly realms. As a traveler, I'm able to manifest into my own thoughts and memories. I've seen many realities. I asked him, how many is there? How many is there, God? He said, many pathways. A pathway defined is a route formed by a chain of nerve cells, along which impulses of a particular kind travel. Particular kind travel, I mean, I'm a particular kind of soul traveler. I asked where these pathways take us to. His answer was neurolinks. Neuro means relating to nerves or the nervous system, and links is defined as a relationship between two things or situations, especially where one affects the other. Nailed it. He nails it here. He's like literally telling us. So it's a ring or loop in a chain. You access the heavenly realms by intelligence through the mind, body, and soul connection. I said, are we in jeopardy? He said, absolutely. I said, from who? He said, from you. That means from us all. The ones who are not of God are putting us in jeopardy. It's man who is harming us. We are self-destructing. God isn't doing this, only man. I said, how? He said, the fallen. I said, how am I you and fallen too? He said, I never forsaked you. Fix you for me, make the world a better place, and reunite. I never abandoned or deserted you, said God. I said, when will my memories end? He said, when time ends. We will experience this until the world ends. The world ends when thoughts will end. I said, when will time end? He said, when I say it. After he collects his people, and only ones left do not entertain their own thoughts. That makes me think of like what's coming. Like the beast, the transhumanism. Let's really listen to this. Like after he collects his people and the only ones left do not entertain their own thoughts. That's like, wow. Do not be lost or deceived, guys. It's just incredibly crazy. I said, you speak? ? He said, yes. I said, if you speak and live by feeling, how do you communicate? He said, I don't. It's through you. Which, meaning all of us. He speaks through us. We have to hear him, and that's how we speak him into existence. When we've had enough and return to him, it's through us that he will speak the end into existence. He speaks through us, and we speak it into existence. I said, how do we undo what has became? He said, we recreate. I said, recreate what? He said, time. And I said, time? He said, yes, time is memories. I said, recreate our story? He said, yes. I said, when? He said, now. He wants us to recreate, which means to create again. We undo what has already been sowed by recreating our own story now. By recreating our story, we escape time and we erase the memories in which God chooses to shed. I said, can we all do this? He said, only with will. We must have the will to live for God, choose God, live in an image of God, and to reunite with him. I said, why is this a big circle? It's like everything is like going back to one. Like I said, why is this a big circle? And he knows my thoughts. He knows what I mean by that. And what I meant by that was like, why is this just a never-ending circle? Like my thoughts are my reality, and my reality, you know, it's just like all these questions go back to itself. Everything always goes back to itself, and that's the answer altogether. I mean, I'm talking deep, so I hope you can hear me. But self is a manifestation of thought, which creates memories that are sewed into the fabric of existence as it weaves into creation, defining physical structure from thin air. We are responsible for our own destiny based on our very own thoughts, in which define our being. Told you guys, I told you it was deep, and it's so powerful. I just love this writing. Like, I so cherish this. I'm so thankful. I hope it's touching you guys in the way it's touching me, because this writing is just incredible for me. But he tells me everything is there. There is no start and there's no end. He said only movement in a direction perpendicular to fate. Everything in all worlds, heavenly realms, and dimensions of time is just there. There is no start and end. It's a moment of faith that propels us forward on our journey to find self and reunite with God. We never die. I said, what is faith? He said, things hoped for that's unseen. Hoping for invisible manifestations is done by faith and faith alone. What are the heavenly realms? He said, dimensions of time. I said, of memories? He said, of faith. I said, so faith is time? He said, in time there is faith. I said, how can I convey this from my understanding? He said, you have already. I said, how for their understanding? He said, they are you. I I said, so we all will understand? He said, in time. I said, a memory? He said, in faith. Heavenly realms are memories and thoughts over time. You reach heights through the heavenly realms by faith. As you travel through the space and connect to time, you are propelled by faith. I understand this, and so do you, because God lives in both me and you. We are the chosen, the awoke. In our journey through time, propelled by faith, we grow and learn together through the higher dimensions of time, and the future considered as the heavenly realms. I said, what year will the world end? He said, which world? I said, any of them. He said, all of them? I said, sure. He said, in a second. I said, when is a second? He said, it's in the now. I said, so is that already ended? He said, perception is your key to enlightenment. I said, perception? He said, of time and space. I said, it don't exist, does it? He said, depends on your perception of reality. All my worlds will end in a second, and it will end now. But I don't see that it's ended. Perception is key to enlightenment. When you understand what time and space is, you understand that reality is determined by you. God has separated from the world. Do you have faith and courage to find Him righteously? We all are here because we have a pseudo-reality to shed. After it's shed, we have a choice to work for God or use His knowledge against Him like the elites. We are given the power to experience everything that we desire. God's love remains in faith, hope, and love, that your return home is to Him. I said, what is reality? He said, layers of time and events. Thoughts and memories in time are events that define reality. So let's dissect this together and let's summarize what we have here so far. And this is about done, and I think the best I save for last because it's just so deep as far as the world ending. Alright, so there are many versions of self that are created by thoughts and memories. These thoughts are being lived in another time frame. God manifested Himself into being by a single thought. It was spoke into existence. In the same way, we have manifested our own thoughts in which we have become. Existence is stitched from the collective thought which creates the dimensions. Your self-thoughts determine what dimension you are able to coexist into, each one with its own unique lesson. A feeling is to be alive, and a thought is to be in a memory of time and existence. We are not living, we are only here by God's grace. We must spread His message to teach by God's words. Be natural and true. Shed the ego. There's many pathways to access the higher realms of reality. Knowledge and intelligence can gain one the access in which they desire. The fallen are using this info for self-gain, to gather the broken and trick and deceive them. Not all of us are fallen. He said He never abandoned us. Our memories of this time and tribulation will one day end. He says when we speak Him into existence, we will end time, through thoughts and memories. We can do this only through self-will. Everything is a revolving loop that always goes back to self. Everything is everywhere at the same time. No start and no end. Faith propels us through our memories in existence when we've hoped for the things unseen. It takes time to find faith. You now understand this, and in time, everyone will understand by faith. All worlds are ending now. What perception you choose to live in is the key to those enlightened. Time and space is just a hard drive that allows access to data. Your beliefs determine your way. Reality is only a space that holds time and events for accessing further intelligence. And we wonder how the elites take God's knowledge and use it against them. In order to watch how I say this, I'm just going to say that some believe technology could be evil or the mark of the beast, and the reason why is because do you see how they mimic God? They understand that it's a device that can control the perception of reality. Things can be erased, memories can be erased, and people can be erased. People can be muted. God's never done that to us. But the beast is given the wrong power. He does this to us. It causes separation and division. And what's happening is a group is becoming them, and a group is becoming of God. And we are separating from this. We can now see what's going on in the world. It's not an illusion for us anymore. And as we try to wake people up on our way to heaven, we just have to pray for them. And all that's left is faith, hope, and love. Those three things remain. I said, so are you rising me from the dead? He said, one day. I said, define day. He said, light, good. I said, things seem to riddle. He said, yeah, existence. A riddle defined is equal to existence. So let's define riddle. So when you define riddle, existence can be explained as follows. A question or statement intentionally phrased so as to require ingenuity in asserting its answer or meaning, typically presented as a game. As we wonder why the devil runs the heavenly realms. I told you this was deep. Shed layers of reality that no longer serve you. I said, what is the known answer to life? He said, become who you are meant to be. I said, how many times have I been here? He said, many thousands. You guys, you have to shed layers of reality that no longer serve you to reach your highest self, to reach God, and find the life that He's chosen for you. All of us. I said, so if I am them, and they are me, and we are you, now what? He said, we wait patiently. I said, for what? Am I coming to collect my perception of events? Now we join as one, and God will come and collect the memories and perception of events that He chooses to be serving value, worth, loyalty, and faith to Him. I said, what about the ones that you leave behind? They create on their own. God disowns them and no longer includes them as His own. As we are as one with our Creator, the ones left behind are one with the beast. They are Him, and He is them. We live in the new heaven on earth that God has promised, but everyone else is left to create on their own. I said, is that the beasts? He said, if that's what you call them. I said, what do you call them? He said, the lost, the forgotten, the stolen, the underdetermined. When you are lost, you are found by faith. Your mind, body, and soul cannot be stolen unless you are deceived. You can only be deceived if you lack faith, because without faith, you do not understand how to live in the image of God. The underdetermined are those who don't care to put in the work for God. They settle for remaining a mist that evaporates with the memories that will one day be forgotten. Goosebumps, goosebumps, goosebumps. These words are not of my own, but are from our Creator, the Most High. All thanks goes to God, Yahweh, the Father of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. You guys, do you see where we are at in time right now? Like, that's why I was so excited to dissect this for you guys. If you understand what God is saying to us, we are in times now, which we knew we were in tribulation, but now we know our own power and what we need to do to get to where we need to go for God, because He's waiting patiently. He is waiting patiently. So thanks for joining. I will be back with more. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate your likes, shares, comments, anything just to spread His word. You guys teach, you guys grow yourself and teach His word and continue to grow. And I will be seeing you in the heavenly realms, that's for sure. But for now it's work. For now it's work, it's self-work. And we are the ones that are gratified by the glory of God. So sometimes work is so accomplishing and so rewarding that we enjoy doing it. And this is God's work. And it's due to His love for us, for me and for you, that gets us here. And we're all growing each other. It's been a long week or two, actually. And, yesterday I started traveling again. And today I woke up very refreshed, revived, and I just feel good. And I know the good things are coming. So we have to understand why we're shedding. We have to understand why we're going through these growing pains. And then we grow into who we're supposed to be. It's not a punishment for us. It's actually trying to grow us. And the ones left behind, we just pray for them. We pray for them that they wake up. We pray that they wake up from the illusion they're under. Okay, one of the main things I notice is God says we need to recreate our story, and that the ones left behind will create on their own. And I try to dissect this within myself, and He's really saying that, God can, just the way the Holy Spirit comes across me and you, that Holy Spirit is the same person. He tells you the same message He tells me. And that's why a lot of times preachers and awakened people speak on the same topics at the same time. It's not because we're copying off each other. It's because God's feeding the information in, and He's targeting all the people He can to try to wake them up. And you really honestly know that you're finding somebody true when they're speaking things that resonate to that extreme, and you see it all across the board. That's just the gift of the awoken, you know. And what happens is, like, the devil has a way of putting his minions and demons and, you know, the beast into people. So just as a way as we are all blessed with the Holy Spirit, receiving the same knowledge, the beast is actually programming his demons into people and giving them the same knowledge. Okay, so God tells us the right way, the truth, but the demon's programming false and pseudo beliefs, perceptions of reality that are revolved around anger and hate. He tries to trick things, turn things backwards, you know, show to make hate love. You know, recently, like I said, there was a business post that my friend's parents put out, and some people took it wrong, you know, they really did, and it was a misinterpretation of their own ways of seeing things. However, they reacted with such hate, you know, and I mean, this is nationwide. This ain't limited to just this town. It's reached publicity in a way that you would not believe. You would think that we're all famous or something to be able to have our words picked up this big. I mean, like I said, it was on the Today Show, and it's been everywhere. And what's happening is the beast is getting into these people and making them see just one perception. And I'm not saying having opinions is the beast. I'm saying that for somebody to not like his words and say that they're hateful and twist them, and now all of a sudden they're hating him, they're making memes, they're threatening to kill his family, they're threatening all this stuff. Okay, that's hate. How are you going to twist love as hate? So basically they're twisting hate as love. They're saying this man said something we don't like, and out of love, we hate the man. That's not okay. We love everybody no matter what they do. We forgive everybody no matter what they do. And people aren't waking up to this. They're not waking up. They're losing God, and God's turning away from them. You know, there's a distance being formed between them and God. And the further this goes on, the further away God is, the harder it is to hear them. That's why in the Bible it says pray for people that doesn't pray for themselves, because God's going to lose acknowledgement in these people. You know, if they've turned their backs so far, until they reach out themselves and ask for God, then God's not going to, he's done enough, you know? And that's just where we're at in time. It's crazy. So don't let these people get in your mind. That's what they do. I mean, their job is to, you know, the demon's jobs is to get in your mind, steal your soul, divide and conquer you, keep you separated from God, keep you in limbo in this false pseudo reality. This matrix system is just a bunch of thoughts. Space. I did a video a while back, and I told you guys, when you travel, when you're time traveling in space, it's like literally just a place that holds every portal to time. There is no time. It's like this. Here's a video that I'm doing today, and here's a video I did 2 weeks ago. They still remain in the same time. By the time you see this, I will be in past. This is in past. These two videos are past tense, but you're watching them in the future, and you can access either one through this space. You can click on this one, and you can click on this one as if it's now. But it's not now, you know, and that's the thing. Time doesn't exist. The devil mimics God in these ways, you know, and it's just crazy. It's crazy that what I'm seeing, and I'm so deep right now. I'm letting you know the deep level in which I can see. And when you understand that time is just a collection of thoughts and memories, you're then able to understand that that's why I could see into the future. You're then able to understand why I could see into past self, like me, in another life. This happens because I'm aware. I can stand outside of space and time, and I'm aware of the big picture as the whole. In this 3D dimension, you can only see what's in front of you. In a 2D dimension, you would have a piece of paper like this, and pretend you're an ant, okay? Pretend you're an ant. All they're seeing is lines. When an ant crawls on this piece of paper, it's not seeing you. It's not seeing your face. An ant on this piece of paper can only see a fragment of your hair, okay? It can only see portions of you that doesn't make sense. It just knows you're giant, and it fears you, and it runs. That's a 2D. We're in 3D. And 3D, it can still happen to where in a 4D or 5D being can reach its hand into your time frame. Because all we are is limited to perception right now. So if God was to put his hand down in our way, we'd be like, wow, you know, what is that? It would take a minute to understand. We're not used to seeing that every day. But when you stand out of time and space, you can see the whole. You can access these videos, you can access each time and be in that moment. You can access each life with just a click, with just to travel through a certain pathway, and you reconnect with that experience. When you die, a lot of people have said they experienced where the God has actually, like near-death experiences, God has actually showed them, you know, how they put them back in time is what I'm trying to say. I've heard stories about people with near-death experiences that go to heaven and God's put them back in time, and all of a sudden they'll be like 9 sitting with their grandma, and God will say, do you remember how you made your grandma feel when you yelled at her that day? And you can hear God, but that 9-year-old person is sitting in this room back in time just as if it's now. You can smell the room. You can it's everything. You know what the room looks like. You remember the look in your grandma's eyes. This is what I'm talking about. God has the ability to put you in any time frame. He does that. It's to show and learn lessons. And we are realm jumping all the time, whether you guys notice it or not. That would be for another video. But for now, I just wanted to get this out here. As usual, I'm trying to stay on top of this. A lot's coming in right now, and I'm trying to keep up with the flow so nobody misses anything. So you guys understand the seasons, the change, the message, what's going on around you that you can see and that you can't see. So yeah, stay tuned for more lucid dreams, servicing the higher minds. I'll be back. Much love. Shed negative realities. And don't forget, as Kelly said, drink plenty of water. And don't forget that we are always going to be tempted and tested. If God didn't love us, we wouldn't be tested. If God didn't love us, sin wouldn't be here, because if He didn't love us, we wouldn't be here. We are growing and separating. It's fact. So enjoy the transformation, you guys. Much love.